Hey Hooper, it's Deanne Love here, and in this new series, we are going to be looking at hoop transitions. I like to think of hooping as three things: tricks, transitions, and then technique. All of that beautiful stuff that is your own body's wisdom. Now the transitions, which is what we're going to look at in this series, is like the glue. It's the parts, it's the moments, it's the positions that stick the trick flow together. And sometimes we just zoom straight past them, but in this series we are going to look at how important they are. So each video of this series, Hoop Transitions, I am going to give us a position. And for this video, this is the position. This is the transition position. And we're going to ask ourselves two questions. You can use this concept in all of your hooping. And those two questions are, how do I get here? And where do I go next? Now, a lot of times when we're starting to learn something new, or we're trying to put together a new choreography or a new flow session or anything, doesn't matter what level, how many years, how many minutes, what size hoop, does not matter at all, any of those things. If you are trying to glue tricks together to put them into a flow sequence, then you can use this concept. How do I get here? And then where do I go? And we have tricks that bring us to this point and tricks that take us away from that point. And then we can layer on our technique, which could be anything. You can put any layers on it all. So in this video, I am just going to show you an example of a trick that could get you to here. This is a very important position. It frames you. You can use it in many different ways. This is also a base position with your hand down at 6 and your hoop framing you for a lot of isolation. So how, and you might already be thinking, how do I get to here? And then where do I go next? So let's have a look at one example of how you get to this and then where you transition next. Okay, so let's look at how we get here. And for this example, we are going to do a reverse escalator with a crotch trap and bring the hoop up. Now, the reason why I chose that example is because we have to work with some trickery to begin with, and we also have to get really familiar with the hoop's weight, how much energy we need to give to get it to this position, because we're going against gravity. And when we push the hoop up with our leg, we're going to bring it to our hand, and there's a moment in this point, or to get to this point, where we really have to be in tune with it all. So that's why we're going to do this one. So I'm going to break it down. This is what it looks like. In your right hand, you're going to swing the hoop behind you onto your left hip, bring that left knee up and take it over in a C towards the right hand, if it's in your right hand. Then we bring the hoop up in front, pick up the right leg, take the head and the opposite arm through, step down, and then this, our back leg, is where we're going to do the push forward, bring the heel to the butt, the hoop comes into your hand, and then you maneuver it into what is our first position, our transition point here. So again, hip, step, up, and to your right hand. If you're doing it on your left side, we're going to wrap the hoop over to the right hip, right knee comes up and does a C over to the left as we hold it in our left hand. Then we pick our left leg up, right arm, and head through. And now it's this point here, the front of the back leg. So the front surface of the leg that is back, that is going to push towards your knee. And it's like, if you know wedgies, then it's similar to that. It's a crotch trap. I have another tutorial on the crotch trap. If this happens, where the hoop goes between your the back of your knee and the back of your ankle, then what you need to do is bring your leg up a little higher so that it can go through. And then the hoop, with the momentum that you gave, is going to come up to this first position. So reverse escalator, step up, and we're here to this transition. So that was one example of how we get here. Where do we go to next? And when we can work that out, then we've got ourselves a little mini sequence. Well, one of the examples is these folding isolations. So we went from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Swap hands, 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And then you can add your technique on top. You can add your layers. So maybe it's very strong, masculine, strength, structure. Maybe it's very feminine and flowy, depending on the music or the mood or whatever it is. Now, if you want another example of those folding isolations, if you don't want to do these alternating hands, you can use the hand that's down at base at this transition point, go up to the top, over to the side. The opposite position to where your hand is going to fold forward. You're going to make a nice long line from your shoulder out to your wrist to the hoop, and then drive down to base. So we go to the top, to the side, across, and down. So what you have there, this is the transition point, this very important point that we often skip over. Reverse escalator, crotch trap, bring it up to this position and straight into your choice of folding isolation. Okay, so here is your homework. And all of this has been inspired by the live classes that I've been sharing. If you're not into live classes, you can go over to learn.hooplovers.tv for my other courses. Anyway, this is the homework. This is our transition point for this flow. I want you to see if you can come up with lots of other ways that you get to hear in your hooping. Maybe it's weaves. Maybe it's halos. Maybe it's shut the door and hand at that position. So starting to think about the times that you come to this transition and then ask yourself, where do I go next? What do I do next from here? Do I drop my hoop down into a spin? Do I fold it? What do I do? And so that we can encourage the global world of hoop lovers, in the comments down below, let us know how do you get to 6 o'clock? And then where do you go? Where do you like to go next? So how do I get here and where do I go next? If you can answer those two questions down below, we're having a hoop jam. Okay, don't forget to tune in to next week. I'm going to give you a different transition and we're going to ask those same questions. How do I get there and where do I go next? It's going to help you with a whole bunch of trick learning, transitions, and then technique. Okay, big hoop love from me to you. Mwah.